The Scorpio Blueprint is a guided audio journey for anyone ready to stop shrinking, stop people pleasing, and finally step into their own worth. This playlist moves you through a full transformation from self doubt and emotional exhaustion to clarity, boundaries, and quiet, grounded power. Each track is half of a step. You'll uncover the patterns that kept you stuck, learn how to break free from the need for approval, and rebuild a life that actually feels aligned with who you are, not who you've been performing to be. If you're standing at the edge of change, unsure where to start, but knowing you can't stay where you are, this playlist is your map. Press play, take the first step, and transform at your own pace. Welcome back to the Scorpio Blueprint. This is step three: identify what no longer serves you. Transformation requires subtraction before addition. You cannot step into a new life while dragging your old one behind you. This step is about taking inventory, radical, unflinching inventory of everything in your life: relationships, habits, beliefs, commitments, environments, everything. The question you're asking about each item is: does this serve my highest good, or am I serving it? Scorpios are loyal to a fault. We hold on when we should let go. We stay committed long after everyone else has left. We believe that persistence is a virtue, that endurance is strength. And sometimes it is, but sometimes it's just stubbornness dressed up as devotion. There's a difference between commitment and captivity. One energizes you, the other drains you. One is chosen, the other is tolerated. One honors who you're becoming, the other keeps you tethered to who you were. I understand this intimately. I stayed in situations years past their expiration date because I thought loyalty meant forever. I thought walking away meant failure. I thought if I could just endure a little longer, things would shift. They didn't. And all that time I spent waiting for dead situations to resurrect themselves, that was time I could have been living, time I could have been growing, time I could have been building something real. But I was afraid, afraid that leaving would prove I wasn't strong enough, afraid that walking away would mean all that time invested was wasted, afraid that starting over would be admitting defeat. None of that was true. But fear doesn't care about truth. Start with relationships. Look at every significant person in your life and ask, do I feel more or less like myself when I'm with this person? Do they support my growth or do they need me to stay the same? Is this relationship reciprocal or am I doing all the emotional labor? Do they respect my boundaries or do they push against them constantly? Be honest. You know the relationships that exhaust you. You know the people who take and never give. You know who makes you feel small, who dismisses your feelings, who treats your time as if it's worthless. I had a friend, let's call her Blaine, who I'd known for some time. We'd been through everything together, or so I thought. But when I started really paying attention to the pattern, I realized something devastating. She only reached out when she needed something. She would offer to help, but then never act on what she said she'd do. When I called her on it, she made excuses. She had other plans. She didn't have time. She would make up for it later. I didn't expect her to help me out. But what really hurt me was that she turned the personal confidence I gave her into gossip. When I realized what had happened, she had already turned people I once had good relationships with against me. I could see the hardness on their faces, and I lost the belief in many people in that one instant when I saw what was happening. And it was all because of one person I had trusted. It was painful, but I decided then and there that she was not worth my energy. That's when I knew this wasn't friendship. This was a one sided arrangement where I'd been cast as the supporting character in her life, and she didn't even care that I had a life of my own. Had she cared, she would have asked me about it. These fake relationships are costing you more than companionship is worth. They're costing you your peace, your energy, your self respect. And for what? For the illusion of connection? For the fear of being alone? For the hope that maybe someday they'll change? They won't. Not because they're incapable of growth, everyone is, but because your tolerance of their behavior gives them no reason to. You've taught them that you will stay no matter how they treat you, so they keep treating you the same way. Maybe you're a Cancer and you've been nurturing people who never water you back. You've poured yourself into relationships thinking that's what love is, endless giving without receiving. But you're wilting, my friend. You're dying of thirst while you water everyone else's garden. Maybe you're a Sagittarius and you've stayed in relationships that clip your wings because you're afraid of hurting people by being your full, expansive self. So you've made yourself smaller, more predictable, less free, and you wonder why you feel trapped. Maybe you're an Aquarius and you've surrounded yourself with people who take your innovation, your ideas, your vision, and give you nothing but criticism in return. People who are threatened by your brilliance, so they try to dim it. Look at your relationships honestly, not with the lens of who you wish these people were, but who they actually are, not based on history or potential, but on current reality. And then ask yourself, if I met this person today, knowing what I know now about how they treat me, would I choose them? If the answer is no, you have your answer. Now look at your habits. What are you doing daily that's keeping you stuck? Scrolling social media for hours, comparing yourself to others, staying up too late, neglecting your body, saying yes to everything, leaving no time for yourself, numbing your feelings with food, substances, or endless distraction. These habits didn't develop randomly. They're serving a purpose, usually avoidance. You're avoiding feeling what you need to feel. You're avoiding facing what you need to face. You're avoiding the discomfort of change. But here's the thing about avoidance: what you resist persists. The feelings you're running from keep following you everywhere. The transformation you're avoiding is waiting for you at every turn. You can delay it, but you can't escape it. After my father passed away, I was a master of avoidance. I stayed busy, frantically, obsessively busy. If I had a free moment, I'd fill it immediately. Another workshop to prepare, another project to take on, another person to help, another problem to solve. I told myself I was productive. I told myself I was ambitious. I told myself I was making a difference. But really, I was running from the grief I hadn't processed. In a deeper sense, I was also running from the question that terrified me: who am I when I'm not being useful to someone else? My habits were elaborate avoidance mechanisms, and they kept me stuck in a life that looked impressive but felt hollow. What are your avoidance habits? The things you do automatically when you're uncomfortable, when you're sad, when you're scared, the Netflix binges that turn 3 episodes into an entire season, the social media scroll that starts as a 5 minute break and becomes 2 hours of comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, the staying busy so you never have to be still, the perfectionism that keeps you endlessly preparing but never starting, the people pleasing that keeps you so focused on everyone else that you never have to face yourself. These habits are costing you your transformation. Every hour you spend avoiding yourself is an hour you could spend becoming yourself.